Hello and welcome, this is Rooflemonger, and in this video I want to go over just a few characters in Mortal Kombat 11 that I think are on the cusp of great things. Obviously, we kind of know at this point, who are some of the better characters and who are some of the worst characters. Like Garrus is definitely one of the better characters, and Kotal Kahn definitely probably one of the worst characters, right? But in this video I specifically want to highlight Frost, Raiden, and Shao Kahn as three characters that only need some small tweaks to become strong characters. They don't need moves from other variations. They don't need their whole move list reworked to drastically change things how they work. All these characters have the potential. They have strong tools already, but they're being hampered by either really small little things or certain frame data. And I just want to go over these characters, kind of what makes them good to begin with, what their strengths are, and also just a few small tweaks they would need just to become much better. Obviously I could do this for the whole roster, but then the video would be like an hour plus long. So I just want to highlight these three characters here, Frost, Raiden, and Shao Kahn, as three examples of just the small tweaks you have to make that can make a character so much more competitively viable. So Frost, let's talk about some of the quick strengths here. First up, she has a lot of very long-range moves, like stuff like 4-2 I think is one of the unsung heroes of the game. It's a very simple move here, only 7%, but just the range it owns, and once again here at 19 frame startup, it's very quick. It's not really reactable in any kind of real way. You're not going to see this in like Duck in a realistic situation, right? So she can threaten you while you're just playing around neutral, just walking back and forth very easily and very consistently, to the point where you're going to want to start ducking and want to start giving up your turn, right? Just like playing in fear of it. Obviously you want to try to catch an uppercut or something, right? But just the threat of it existing can kind of really control you. Along with that, you have stuff like, back 2-2, long range poke that you can get combos out of. That's really good. She also has some of the best chip damage in the game here. She has her blade spin move here. A lot of damage for chip. Easily gets around the last breath mechanic, as each separate hit is its own separate hit. Therefore, one hit would be last breath, and then it would take your bar away, and then it would kill you anyways with chip, because it does do a fair bit about chip damage with the EX version. Also, both versions are completely safe on block, as you can see here, chip or the regular version or the EX version. So these are really good moves. Say if you have the enemy cornered, she has stand 4-3, this guy right here. This is a plus on block move that can also lead to full corner combo on hit confirm. So if it gets blocked, hey, you're still advantage. And if it hits, hey, you get a full combo, right? Not many characters in this game can say they have something like that, where you're plus on block, and if you get the hit anyways, then it's a full combo. Usually it's like a single hit that's plus, and then if it hits, that's it. Versus she can get like 30% off this, right? So these are some really good strengths. Her non-traditional fireball, as it's a very higher angle than many fireballs. And the EX just has all sorts of fun little extra hits. It can actually be mildly difficult to jump. And if you get hit by either one of these, it's easy to hit confirm. And then you get smacked by the follow-up for nice damage. So she's got some tools to work with, right? But once again, she's considered a bad character. But let's just talk about some of the small changes we can make to make her a good character. So one of the main ways she would normally have to start a combo is back 1-2, this guy right here. It's a mid-mid, and then you can go into full combo from here, do all that fun stuff, right? Here's the issue. It is 16 frame startup. So for what it is, it's incredibly slow. A lot of the better characters in the game, their hit confirm mid-starter is 9 frames, not 16, 9, right? And a couple people have 10 framers, right? And the fact that hers is so slow. So, like, if you're trying to do this in a scramble situation, yeah, you're going to get down one all day. You're going to get uppercutted all day, like, for sure, because you're going to lose. Like, end of story. If you can get any amount of plus frames and go for it, it's still 16 frames. And in a lot of cases, you can still get jabbed out of. Like, that's how slow the move is. Now, on top of that, we also got more issues. So, if it's at the block, right? So this is negative 20 on block if you just leave it as it is. Now there is an option to make this workable here. That's back 1-2-1, and this is the final hit here, and you can make it safe. So basically, on top of it being slow, you now have to 2-layer hit confirm it if you're trying to use it. You can hit confirm it. If it hits, you can go in your combo. Awesome, right? But if you see it blocked, you have to hit 1 or you're dead. So the one move here It has quite a bit of pushback, -2, so you basically reset the neutral, and that's fine, except this part here is weird and can miss a lot of ducking people despite it being labeled as a mid, and she can often get uppercutted or jabbed out of her doing it. So basically it's lose-lose. Like, if you just leave it as this, -20, you're dead, 100%, especially from this far away. Everyone can reach you in -20 from here, right? Even bad characters. And then you have this thing here where a lot of characters can oddly uppercut you and punish you for trying to do the quote-unquote right thing. So you have to do more effort than the other characters with a slower move that's not as good. And then the thing that's supposed to save your bacon after you double layer hit confirm, doing more work than other people have to, is basically kind of bugged and broken, and you get smacked anyways. So a thing that would just make this better is, one, don't make this a 16-frame move. You don't have to make it a 9-framer like, you know, the top tier gods or nothing, right? But definitely has to be a lot quicker, even like, say, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 frames, something like that, not 16. And make it so the back 1-2-1 here, this guy here, actually works like it's intended to work, and will reliably push people back if you dual layer hit confirm. If you don't dual layer hit confirm, sure, leave it as it is. Even though it's stupid and other people don't have to do this, you can leave it as is, work with it. But yeah, this is an example of just a small tweak that can make her a lot better. Another small quality of life change that can make her a lot better is her shield here. So the shield, it does what it does on paper, right? It'll save you from a fireball. That's the thing, a fireball, singular. So say if you're fighting Cassie and she has her gunshot, that's 2 projectiles. Those 2 projectiles, one will hit the shield and the other one will smack you right in the face. So what this should be is it should go all the way through and it just deletes everything along the way. She has her own projectile game, yes, absolutely. However, it's a bit, you know, awkward compared to some of the other characters here. Definitely different. And traditional zoning style war, she tends to lose, honestly. She tends to lose because this is a neat little thing, but it's not that great. And once again, against some characters have dual hitting moves, multi-hitting moves, it only saves you from 1 hit. So I would just say, just leave this as it is. It goes its whole distance every time and just deletes everything along the way. Another thing, just nice quality of life change, and you would think it would work this way anyways until you actually play around with it. Her little ice grenade move here, it's already a high, and yeah, you could say make it a mid, but what you should make it is explode on contact. Because you can just jump through this, right? Like, so there's very little threat of just advancing against this move already, right? So if it hits an enemy in the air, it should explode and hit the enemy, right? Versus just going right through them. Like, I'm literally just going through the move here, as you can see here, right? So what do I really have to fear from this move? It's already slow. I can already duck it for free, right? Like, so just the fact that only if, you see here, only if I'm late on it and I get hit by the AoE part can I actually get hit by it. But as it stands, and I'm anywhere near close to it, I just can laugh it off, right? So making it be able to just hit the enemy in the air as they're jumping, I think would be a nice little change. It wouldn't make it broken in any way, shape, or form. It would just make it, you know, it has a weird parabolic anti-air looking arc anyways, so it just make it better at what it's supposed to be used in that regard. And plus, once again, if you just want to advance against it, all you have to do is walk and duck, right? So I think that would be a very fair change. And one final change is just expand the hitbox on her stand 1. If you're not aware, she kind of has like the worst stand 1 in the game, to the point where it's actually unreliable as a punish, even on people who are very close. And so just make it just a little bit better so you can actually use it the way you think you'd want to use it, right? So that's just a couple small changes, and honestly, I think these small changes would mean the world to the character. They won't make her top tier or nothing, right? But this isn't a video saying how to make each character broken, because I could just say, well, each one of these is an instant kill or something, right? Like, that's not the point of the video. This showcase, the characters need only a couple small changes, these small changes, and they become worlds better with just the small changes just to make their moveset more reliable. Now, with all that said, let's move on to the next character, which is Raiden. So, moving on to Raiden. Raiden, a lot of his strengths are on-paper strengths, and honestly, he's the main inspiration for this video, because, yeah, we'll get into it. But yeah, a lot of his strengths are on paper strengths. Like, hey, he controls a lot of the screen. He can kind of be wherever he wants, whenever he wants to be there. He can punish a lot of things. Nominally, he has really good range on a lot of things. You know, like a very far range compared to some, anyways. Mid-hitting combo starter, that kind of stuff. But the thing is, once again, it's all on paper. But let's just talk about some of the small changes I would suggest, and it can make Raiden worlds better. So the first issue here, let's talk about his back 1-2. So his back 1-2 is a mid-hitting starter, hit confirmable move. and that's really good. And unlike, say, the Frost Touch we went over, it's 11 frames. So 11 frames is not awful. Like, it ain't as good as the really top tier characters with their 9-frame starters, right? But unlike Frost with her 16-frame mid-hit starter, this is workable. We can definitely work with it. But here is the issue. So it is -9 on block from easily full comboable, punishable distance, right? A lot of characters, their stand jab easily hits from here, and if their stand jab doesn't hit, their stand 2 can, and whatever. Like, a lot of characters can easily punish this, right? And you should not be, once again, as we went over Frost, you should not be full combo punishable, in my opinion, for just going for a basic hit confirm starter. Maybe it's like some big fancy thing, but it's not. You can make it safe by doing this, which is lightning canceling it here. So you go for your Superman here, you hold it, and if you hit down, down, you cancel it, right? So you can do this, and then cancel it, and be safe from a further distance. And of course, this is safe-ish. Certain characters can still punish it, right? If you do it fast as possible timing, it's mostly safe, but it's hard, right? And once again, this relies on Raiden having 2-layer hit confirming, where he has to do this, and then if you want your real damage, you know, get your spark cell going on, right? Then you have to say, you can hit confirm it, and then block confirm it, and you have to do that, and it's way more mental energy, where I have to do this. Oh, I got my hit, I go for this, and I go to this. Oh, I got blocked, I better do this, right? Way more mental energy than any other character has to expend. Versus, like, say, just doing Cassie or Jackie, just doing the starter, and like, oh, well, whatever, right? And you're barely negative to begin with, either. Like, so much more energy. Also, he has to lose a defensive bar every time to do this, right? The cancel's not free. He has to lose a defensive bar every time just to make his simple hit confirm starter safe on block. So, yo, don't make it -9. You can make it -7, you know, preferably -6 or -5. Don't make it -9 on block. That's just ridiculous, and that solves all the issues right there. So it can be your hit confirm starter, you can still lose your turn, but don't make it punishable on block. So let's talk about forward 1-1. So forward 1-1 is your slower hit confirm starter, and the idea here is, you know, it's kind of like a more long range, right? If you're not quite in distance for back 1, the idea is you want to use forward 1-1 and smack them and then hit confirm there, right? And it's a high starter, and hey, that's fine, right? It should be duckable from that range, right? More range than a lot of people have to work with. However, what it does have is an extreme, and I mean extreme, problem with breathing hurt boxes. So just kind of the movement people have, like Mortal Kombat, if you're not aware, is basically like a what you see is what you get kind of hurt box kind of game. So you will match. So let's just use Devora here. She's standing perfectly still as our example, right? And we're just going to try to smack her at the normal range you'd want to use it from. And let's see what happens. So I can miss, right? I can hit, or I can miss. It literally depends on what cycle of just like them just idling around, or like them walking forward or backwards is. Because the character moves up and down in very slight increments. And that literally is the difference between you hitting and you missing. I think it's really pronounced on some characters. Like, I find Garrus is one of the most frustrating, as you're literally just rolling the dice if they can hit on a standing Garrus. As here, Devora is also a good example. But yeah, like, it should be normalized. Just lower the hitbox of the move to the ground just a little bit, so it can actually hit a standing opponent, because once again, this is a high, so it should be able to hit standing opponents, but make it so it can hit a standing opponent reliably, because right now, it is not a reliable move against standing opponents, which is absolutely absurd. You make that reliable move, all of a sudden this move becomes a lot more valuable, and you can start using it a lot more. And finally, I just want to talk about his range game here. So his various lightning strikes here. So first off here, the basic one. The biggest issue I have with it is just too slow. As you can see here, it's a 28 frame startup. And yes, the projectile, the lightning bolt, travels across the screen faster than the average fireball does. Absolutely, 100%, right? But it's still much too slow on startup and leaves you getting hit out of stuff all the time. And generally speaking, it's not really safe to do anywhere but full screen, and where full screen is very reactable and very easy to see. As a comparison, for Sonya to do her ring, she has 12 frame startup versus Raiden's 28, right? Now, it doesn't need to be 12 frames, because then, once again, with the speed of the lightning, that would be really busted. But it should certainly be faster than what it is, because as it stands, it's a very poor move, to be brutally honest with you. Also, the range lightning strike has a couple issues here. One, you're the same amount of negative no matter where you are on the screen. So I'm negative 29 here. If I did it like really close, I'm still negative 29, right? That means a large portion of the cast, basically from like this far out to much closer, obviously, can easily punish it. And so it basically relegates this move only to full screen. And from full screen, a lot of characters can still punish it anyways, like Garrus and Cetrion, right? So it's not a great move. Once again, it's slow for what it is. It's pretty slow. Also, the enhanced version, which only comes out on hit, this guy right here, is also prone to missing a lot, honestly. It can only come out on hit, cannot come out on whiff or on block, right? So the fact that it can miss at all, the second lightning bolt, right? It can miss at all, like right there, right? It just missed, is stupid. Like, really, like, I don't know, like, I'm not a programmer, honestly, you know. I'm not saying that it's bad coding or whatever, but I think you should be able to make it, right there, where it is literally impossible for the enhanced to miss if you get the first hit, because as you see, that fact that it can happen at all means you burned a bar for nothing, and it just plain stinks. So with these changes in mind, just making his hit confirm moves a lot more reliable, a lot better off, and making his range game, you know, just not as bad as it is, I think legitimately shoots Raiden up the tier list a fair bit. He's got the building blocks, it's just the numbers are bad, right? And also, as a small quality of life change, the Superman cancel, just make it 1 down instead of down. Shang Tsung already has a cancel where it's a single down. It would just make things a lot more crisper and cleaner and just a lot better, honestly. But yeah, Raiden is almost there. Once again, he's the whole point of me making this video, Raiden is the inspiration, right? He's almost there. Couple small changes, and he is good to go. Now, Shao Kahn. I am biased towards Shao Kahn. I'm the first to admit it. I even made a whole big video on why Shao Kahn and Kotal Kahn are so bad, and I definitely want to see these characters be better, because I love these characters, right? But once again, in the spirit of this video, Shao Kahn's got stuff that works, right? Like, he's got, like, almost the best D4 in the game. He's definitely got one of the best D4s in the game. That leads to some really strong jailing options in the corner. That's really good. Debatably has the best sweep in the game. It's really good. Leads to a really solid Oki. Really, it's just really good, right? He has a +6 on block move. That's very handy to have, very handy to work with. He's got, well, I wouldn't say the best uppercut in the game, because that's definitely Jade. He's definitely got one of the best uppercuts in the game, as the range is really good, the arc's really good. It's a fast startup. It's really good in a lot of ways. Really good, right? So he's got good things to work with. Yet, I think everyone will admit, he's still a pretty bad character, right? But once again, just a few small changes, and I think this character can really, really work. So first and foremost, and I've been on record saying this before, and not to come off like a broken record, but come on, 434 should be special cancelable. So I should be able to do this, then go over the shoulder, then do my combo. It's his only mid of any note. He has this guy here, which isn't bad, but it's really relegated to pokes / whiff punishing only. It's not really an up-close tool. And there's no reason why this shouldn't be hit confirmable at all. Like, and hit confirmable on your shoulder, make it special cancelable. Yes, I know. In fact, you know, I helped do the guide on it, right? Forward 3 technically is single hit special cancelable. The window is there. However, it is on the edge of human reaction to reliably do. You doing it in training mode for your single hit confirm, you know, if they blocked or if they hit and then go into a combo from there, is fine and great for training mode. In a real live fire match with a lot of human stressors, it becomes near impossible unless you're like top 2% human reaction time. So that doesn't cut the butter and the story. It just doesn't. This move already has a large gap in it that you can flawless block and punish. And I'm not even saying remove it, right? I'm not even saying remove it. So then it can come like a weird mix of like you doing F3 versus you doing F3-4 into your thing, whatever, right? But there is no reason why I shouldn't be able to do this into shadow, charge, into my combo, all that stuff. It's really that cut and dry. This absolutely 100% should be special cancelable. Now we have a combo here. So 4-2-1 is a very famous string for Shao Kahn. 1 right there. The second hit should have a better hitbox, because you shouldn't be able to get the first hit and then have second one whiff. So just to put that out there. But anyways, but yeah, it's infamously a high, right? So you have B3. B3 is basically like if they're going to neutral duck it and try to neutral duck you from 4-2 range, you should use B3 and launch them, right? But the problem with B3 is this. It's ridiculously punishable. Like, you're forcing yourself in a weird game of like, I want to just hit you with a move, and I'm Shao Kahn. I already don't do, like, he already has kind of like below average damage, right? I I just want to hit you with my string here, and I got to force myself into a weird guessing game of like, you ducking my high, I can do my thing to beat your duck, but then if I do it, then I'm dead. Like, he's putting himself into a weird 50-50 guessing game that's not in his favor, just to do a simple hit confirm from range. And once again, the range is supposed to be like one of the strengths of this character, right? He gives up a lot for the range, and yet he's playing this weird disadvantage game at that range, right? So it's absurd. So back 3, what it should be, is not -17 on block. Like, that is patently ridiculous, especially because it has so much forward movement. Even from this range, -17 from this far away, easy punish for most of the casts. At absolute max range, like, it's still really easy to punish. Like, there's no reason for this move to be as punishable as it is. Make it -10. You lose your turn, sure, you lost your turn. You went in for your very low damage starter, because once again, if you get this, you don't get the normal combo, right? You gotta settle for something else, because you already did juggle starter, right? So that's like barely 25%, not even 25%, right? So you gotta burn the bar and all that. It's just, there's no reason for this move to be full punish on block, honestly. Lose your turn, absolutely, sure, whatever, but full punish on block, no way. So now the next thing to mention here is a spear. It's slow. It has a bad hitbox. It struggles to hit people. It is just so bad on so many ways. Like, I can't, it's mind-boggling, right? So just make it a couple frames faster. Make the hitbox on the spear wider, because a lot of characters can literally just walk underneath it. Like, if they're walking towards you, they can literally walk underneath the spear, right? Which is absurd. Also, it needs to do more damage, considering it's slow, considering it's bad. Like, Noob Saibot off his pretty standard fireball projectile gets 9%, right? And generally speaking, 6% is on the low end. Considering this is a slow, big wind-up move, even if you shaved a couple frames off and made 20, it's still slow by any standards, right? If you made it 20, it should absolutely do a bit more damage. It needs to be a bit more reward, considering the risk you're taking just by throwing this thing. Another one I've been over before, Dark Priest. Make it faster. The buff is already not that long. The buff is fairly decent. I'll be the first to admit, the buff is decent, right? As a buff should be. You're buffing yourself. Like, it turns your throws from 14% to 20%, which is not nothing, right? But, once again, this takes over 160 frames to do, which means there's literally no safe way to set this up. Even if you were to do your spear, do buff right away here, most characters can do something about it. And that says a lot, right? So just make it faster. Like, most characters, like, say Scorpion, right? Scorpion with his Hellfire buff, very fast, very practical do in a real match. This buff, not fast, not practical do in a real match. You want a reason to use the buff, and let alone the whole ridicule thing, which is even slower, right? It's even slower and even worse off. These kind of buffs and debuffs need to be faster. They're not usable in real matches. End of story. You won't see any brave soul who's still playing Shao Kahn right now will absolutely not waste his time doing this move. So it's a dead move. So it needs to be faster. End of story. Now, speaking of dead moves, the up hammer. So the up hammer, if you get it hit, whatever, like, it does this damage, right? That's not a lot of damage. Like, a common situation for up hammer would be like whiff punish back 2, and you got a whole 16%, right? That's all you can get. If it's blocked, you're dead. It's as simple as that. You're dead. The nicest way you're dead is right here. So it says here 0 on block, right? So like, oh, that's awesome, right? Except the enemy can literally uppercut you, and they'll take a small trade here, because the part where it falls back doesn't do much damage, and you'll get uppercutted. And of course, let alone the fact you can flawless block it. Some characters can literally walk out of it and hit you, or otherwise not be hit by it while still hitting you. So it's really, really bad. So what I would propose is this. Remove the gap. They block it, that's it. That's true block stun all the way. And on standing opponent, it's -0. On a taller opponent, it's actually -1. Actually, character height matters for this. But if they block it, make it like -2 or something, right? So you're a little bit negative for doing it, but you're not literally risking your life for using this low damage move. Because once again, useless move. There is no use for this move. You're not going to use it in combos, other than some really edge case situations. Its main use, honestly, is this. Just whiff punish, back 2 into it, and you're only going to do it if you don't have bar for your shadow charge, right? So once again, dead move, just make it a true block string all the way through, make it a little bit more negative to compensate. So at least has some value and some use versus literally never being used. So yeah, that's just some of my thoughts on the matter. Once again here, I chose those 3 characters as kind of like a thought experiment, because I think they only need just kind of number tweaks or just otherwise small changes without massive reworks to make them really competitively viable. Obviously, some characters like Kotal, Devora, I think they need a little bit more than just a couple number tweaks. And once again, I don't want to do everybody because, you know, we can go through the whole cast and this would be an hour-plus video. But still, I think a lot of characters, once again, I think the game's overall in a pretty decent place right now. But once again, so many characters, like the 3 we mentioned in this video, just need small tweaks to be competitively viable. And I hope we get there at some point. As of the time of making this video, EVO hasn't happened yet. I do have a strong belief after EVO there will be a balance patch, and I hope so. And I hope a lot of characters get what they need in there. So anyways, let me know what you think about the video. A lot of characters need some tweaks. You know, hey, what tweaks would you like to see that aren't just crazy off-the-wall tweaks, right? I'd like to see those in the comments. Anyways, that's it for me. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well. Go out and play some Mortal Kombat.